David Wingfield, Head of Marketing at ABSA, a very warm welcome to the Red Zone. In discussion today about the brand proposition that you're a brand that is here for the nation to prosper. So let's explore that in a little bit more depth. You say at the very heart, a brand has got to be purpose-driven, both locally and globally. Explain that to me.
Yeah, I guess, we were talking about it earlier, this whole idea that most brands want to be purpose-driven, which is all good and well. I think particularly in financial services, if you just look globally, what's happened right back from 2008 about what happened in global financial institutions and how they behaved, and it wasn't seen as the right thing to do, etc. And let's be honest, we're a part of the Barclays group. They were and have been perhaps on the wrong side of that, and I think certainly a complete change and a shift from a new management team, a new CEO, and how do we get ourselves back on track as a purpose-driven organisation that. So whilst financial institutions, and it is in fact our purpose, is to help people achieve their ambitions, but they added a piece to it which was in the right way. And I think that's where for us our purpose is. And that in the right way is how do financial institutions do business in the right way to a specific set of values is what it means to us to be a purpose-driven organisation.
So how do you sit down and define the purpose?
Well, I guess, what do financial institutions do? They lubricate the wheels of growth, of driving things forward one way or another. And I think, but within that is what is the right things to do and the wrong things to do. And it's, where you, and obviously regulators have got involved, but it shouldn't be about what regulators say. It's that when you look at something, should I lend money to this person or am I going to get in trouble? Well, I could make a margin from it, but actually, for us as Barclays and ABSA in South Africa, we will no longer do that. It's about saying, no, I'm not going there anymore because it's not the right way to do business.
Man, that's tough though, because you've got to change the head and the heart in this respect. How do you do that?
Very much so, and I think it's a massive job internally. But I guess the point is when one realizes that most of your colleagues are in fact people who are, we're all just people who arrive at work every day and put on a corporate hat, and actually everyone's fundamentally is good. So how do you tap into that? How do you get people to go, hang on a second, let me think about what I'm about to do here. Is that the right way or the wrong way? And if I'm in any doubt, let's call it wrong and not do that. And I think that's the big journey we've been on as an organisation. How
do you know it's working?
I guess, you kind of know from personal experience every day. You see the difference in how people behave or how they approach a decision. They kind of, whereas before they'd go, well, are we going to make money? Yeah, perhaps we are. Well, it's probably a good idea. To, hang on a second, we're going to make money from that, but is that the way we should be doing it? Or, well, let's think about that. No, let's find another way. And I think you can see it.
It's surely a difficult marketing principle, a difficult corporate principle to sustain in perpetuity. You've got to keep working on something like this.
You do. It's a massive internal job, and I think, but that's where we have a very clearly defined set of values now. And spend a lot of time talking to people about them. And you can't train people on values. You've got to help them live it. And I think one of the big things is also making colleagues understand there's a safe space to say, well, if somebody is acting, in contrary or not according to our values, actually just call them out on it and say, hang on a second, let's just have a discussion about that. It takes time, absolutely, but I think we're starting to see how that's making a difference now. And
every time, David Wingfield, you design a new financial product, do you have this at the core, at the pillar? And I presume you do, so how do you then bleed that through and tell people that this has got a purpose behind it?
Yeah, obviously, so, I said up front, Barclays is about helping people achieve their ambitions in the right way. So in South Africa, and now in the rest of Africa, so ABSA in South Africa and Barclays in north of the Limpopo, we launched a campaign last year, was it more of a thought than a campaign around prosper? What does prosper mean? So it's about going out and asking people, customers, clients, potential customers and clients, what does prosper mean to you? And then funny thing, when we did that, both in South Africa, and then we did 10 African markets, when you go out and ask people, not a lot of them talk financial. They talk about it's kind of an end game, which a lot of the stuff is financial and getting there, but that's what makes them prosper.
Back to the lubricant argument.
Yeah.
As well, isn't it?
So what we did was we came back and said, okay, so if it's about prosperity, what are the what are the things we can then even design around products where you say, well, how does that help somebody prosper? Does it help their business grow? Does it help them keep their kids in school? Does it help them get their kids into school? Does it help them get into a motor car and do something? Those are the kind of things you start to look at, and what's the best way to do that?
Just a final question to you. Take this type of thinking away from the ABSA brand and just put on your broader marketing hat. Do brands generally need to think about doing this branding with a purpose, branding for good advertising, all of that kind of thing? Is this the way in which the marketing discipline, David Wingfield, is moving?
Well, okay. There's two pieces to that. I think one of the things that people say, well, a brand, you need a purpose-driven brand. Well, purpose doesn't necessarily have to be good. If your purpose is to never be good, you could do that if you wanted to. Ideally, what it is about is a purpose-driven brand needs to understand what are they in the business of. Okay? If you understand what you're in the business of doing, then do it according to that purpose. Don't get confused about the other things. And I think the biggest place you see that is in the corporate social investment, call it what you like, space, where it's about deciding if that's the business I'm in, then let's invest in things that grow sustainability, etc., in that environment, not, well, I'm going to do everything because everyone thinks I can hand out checks to every charity I come across. I think that you'll see it play out like that. It's about what is my purpose in life as a business? What do I do? Okay, now match that in everything. The products you do, and you build after that. Don't get confused by what that is. I think that's the big trick for people.
David Wingfield, Head of Marketing at ABSA, thank you very much for the insight.
Thank you, Jeremy.